Hey everyone, it's Jack and Adam from Cultaholic.com. It's Monday morning, new week, new us. But one thing that doesn't change is that there's always wrestling news, and we've got some lovely news stories for all of you people right now. Let's take a look at those lovely headlines. First of all, there have been 2 WWE 24/7 title changes over the weekend. Next up, we have an update on the condition of injured NXT superstar Tommaso Ciampa. And finally, another WWE legend has been announced joining Goldberg on this week's SmackDown Live. So first of all, this news piece makes me happy, this first one, because the 24/7 championship, you might have noticed, until this weekend, was just really sort of happening on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, not really 24/7 at all, and typically in the third hour of Raw.
As Mick Foley said, on the third hour of Raw, it's really going to kick off for the 24/7 championship, but they did what everyone's been clamouring for since this idea was, before the idea was even announced. People were theorising about this all the time, saying, wouldn't it be great with the network and social media and everything to do a 24/7 championship or something of that effect? And now we've had the first instance of something happening sort of extracurricular-wise, outside of the regularly scheduled programming. There have been 2 title changes. Not the most thrilling or intricate of videos, but it's a start. It's a start.
I really like it, as you say.
Yeah.
I think this is great, and I was looking at the hits on it, and on Twitter alone, it did 322,000. I'm about to ruin who it is. Jinder Mahal dragged R-Truth from the golf cart, pinned him. 1, 2, 3, your new 24/7 champion, and then R-Truth got his win back. Got his win back. 50-50 booking, damn it. Rolled him up. Got in the golf cart with the title, he's got it back. But it did
sorry, carry on.
It did 322,000 hits, which for an R-Truth and Jinder Mahal segment is actually quite impressive. I'm not sure what it's done on YouTube or any of the other various places. It's on Facebook as well, I guess. But I actually think that's quite good, and it's exactly what they want. And this has done great things for guys like Drake Maverick is absolutely owning this. He's done his own sort of his own story around the whole thing. It's giving people a bit of creative freedom on social media. I love it.
My favourite one was when he was looking for R-Truth in the airport, and he was saying, like, I'm looking for Ron the Truth Killer. I can't do his accent, but it's the way he said, God knows what will happen if he gets through TSI. But the best bit of this video for me was because, of course, the setup was that R-Truth and Carmella were just relaxing on the golf course. Because R-Truth loves to play golf, he said. And you know what, that wouldn't even surprise me. I like that.
He's an old man. Old men like golf.
I like that addition to his character as well, that he's just someone as crazy as R-Truth. Loves just a bit of golf as well. But the escape, once he'd rolled up Jinder and got his win back, Carmella starts driving away slightly too early. She's like, get in, Truth, and he just hangs off the back of the golf cart as it goes away. It's very good. I think it's a promising start. I think it's going to get to the stage pretty soon where the changes and the things that happen, in fact it's already like that, the changes and the things that happen off the superstar's own back outside of Raw and SmackDown is way more entertaining and funny than what happens on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it on Raw and SmackDown too. Some of the backstage segments, and then last week on SmackDown they came through the crowd and interrupted the Shane, Elias, Drew stuff. I thought that was good, and it just means that we get slightly less predictable endings to segments.
Okay.
Like, things that, it wasn't in the end because he just set up a tag match for later in the night. But you know what I mean? It's something different.
But that tag match ended with R-Truth getting the title back.
Yes, and that was actually a really nice moment. I was quite into that.
I liked it as well. Yeah, I think this is promising, sort of, but the title still hasn't shaken off the stigma yet of its design, which everyone hates. Next up, Triple H did an NXT media call following TakeOver 25 on Saturday night and had some words about the condition of Tommaso Ciampa, who was obviously taking time away from the ring to recover from neck surgery. But it seems kind of promising. It's kind of a mixed statement from Triple H, but one that seems, on the whole, I think, a little bit sort of promising. And as we saw during the pre-show of NXT TakeOver 25, Ciampa was also looking quite sprightly. He was up on the Pat McAfee's little table.
He's fine.
Yeah?
It's a work, and if it's not, I'll eat my hat.
Oh, as Sam Driver said, yeah. Yeah. To be fair to Sam, he has really owned up to being wrong about the Dean Ambrose, John Moxley work.
Well, so he should. He saw him come out live.
He did. Yeah. Ross saw him first. We were in the side that he came out on.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that noise about? Why is everyone cheering? And Ross just went, Ambrose! Not Moxley. Ambrose. But yes, Triple H said that Ciampa is cleared for non-contact, which is kind of misleading. Well, it's not misleading at all. It's totally what it says on the tin. Cleared for non-contact, Triple H said, means you can't do anything in this business because wrestling is obviously full of contact. It's a physical activity. Like yoga on a Monday morning that your mum does. He can talk, which is what we're doing in this moment. Talk as in, I guess he means promo. He's ahead of schedule and doing extremely well. Ahead of schedule on all of it and moving along. But with the type of injury he had and the type of surgery he had, especially in this from a physicality standpoint, you're not doing anything until you're 100%. It's not like you can go in there and lightly take a suplex, for example. You have to be 100%, so he's still got a way to go, but he's way ahead of the curve and the schedule. So I think that's pretty promising stuff, because there were fears, of course, and perhaps rightly so, that given sort of Ciampa's history of injuries and the severity of his neck issues, that it could have just been the end of his career.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll come back and we'll see him adapt his style slightly, like Austin had to do, that sort of thing. He also commented on his mental health here, and it was a fairly last-minute thing to actually have Ciampa on the pre-show, but he did it because it would improve his mental health, keep him back in wrestling in some way. And it was really, really great to see him. He looks fantastic. You wouldn't know that he'd had something so serious.
No, not at all.
No, it's really great to see him there. I want him back as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I feel like, honestly, depending on, we don't know how long the rest of Ciampa's career is going to last for, but he's the sort of guy that I'm sure they'd love to keep on, maybe in a coaching role or a promo class role or something behind the scenes of the Performance Center, because he's just absolutely superb at what he does. It
feels like something's been missing from NXT without him. Don't get me wrong, it was brilliant. I really, really enjoyed TakeOver 25, but there's no character quite like Ciampa.
Yeah, that's very true. Next up, we already know, it was already announced last week, that on SmackDown Live we'd see Goldberg, appearing to hype his match with The Undertaker at Super ShowDown in Saudi Arabia, which is on Friday. This coming Friday. It's coming around quick, hasn't it? And now it's been also announced by WWE that, in fact, The Undertaker is also going to be on the show. That's a big SmackDown.
Yeah, he was already announced for Raw. Now they've said he's going to be on SmackDown too to start the build just like 4 days before the match itself. It's this segment. It's Sam Driver's wet dream, isn't it? Goldberg, Taker, 2 geriatrics squaring off ahead of their match in Saudi Arabia. I can't wait.
I think that it's going to be less of a chore to watch than a chore. It's meant to be fun. But it's going to be less of a chore to watch than that Taker versus Triple H match, which went on for a long time, and especially Taker seemed a bit past it, and the DX Brothers of Destruction match where everyone wasn't at the races. But I think this one is going to be more bearable just because it's surely going to be short. It can't go 10 minutes even, because it's Goldberg. He doesn't do long matches.
It worries me if it's short. If Goldberg wins, it might be setting up more matches between the two, which is not what I want to see. I think the only way to do it, Taker is the one that's more likely to continue appearing at these Saudi shows, maybe the odd WrestleMania. I think Taker's got to win it here, maybe beating him in a very quick match just to get some of his fire back, because he can't really wrestle very well anymore.
With an inside cradle, spear, inside cradle, Taker wins. I'd love it if Taker won with a roll-up. That's what I want more than anything. Yes, Super ShowDown is this week.
We'll be doing live reactions. All of the proceeds from those live reactions will go to Amnesty International, as we did last time.
I didn't know that. Excellent. Great.
Surprise! Because we think it's the right thing to do. We want to provide the coverage because it's our job, it's what we have to do. But we're, less than comfortable about doing it. So it's good that if we're going to do it, somebody's going to benefit.
Yes, absolutely. So we've done our main headlines, but we've got a couple of bonus news stories. Because there was just quite a lot of news this morning. PW Insider have reported that AOP, the authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, are being advertised for SmackDown Live events, which is obviously interesting because previously they were Raw superstars. So it seems as though they've been drafted to SmackDown. This whole situation with WWE's roster now,
they might just be wild cards.
They could just be wild cards for every live event, but they're actually still Raw superstars. I was saying to you off camera that, before WrestleMania, you could tell me, because I do Raw graded and you do SmackDown graded, you could say the name of a main roster WWE superstar, and for 99% of them I could go Raw, SmackDown. Now, I've got no idea who's where.
It's a mess, isn't it? Apparently, we were talking about Tyler Breeze last week, who obviously had the North American title match. He's an NXT star full-time, Triple H confirmed that. Apparently, I always thought of him as a SmackDown superstar. He was drafted back to Raw. I don't think he ever had a match in the shake-up, after the shake-up. But apparently that happened on WWE.com or their Twitter.
I feel like I do remember. I feel like I did know this. I've just remembered.
Okay.
Because Xavier Woods was sad because he lost his mate to Raw.
Ah, okay, there you go.
But no, he never
Never had a match.
Never had a match.
I looked at I think it was a Reddit thread the other day that was reporting on all of the people that have been drafted from one brand to another and not even had a match. There was like, who's on there? Chad Gable was on there, Mickey James was on there, but it was like 5 or 6 names.
I feel like I haven't seen Liv Morgan since the breakup.
No, she was one of them.
Yeah.
I think Eric Young he's been on there, but just been sort of scrambling
He's
for the
on Raw
24/7
now.
title. I don't think he's had a match, but there were a lot of names. And then you've got people popping up on shows twice, taking the screen time of.
The main roster is like you know when your email inbox is too full and there's got just stuff you need to just deal with and compartmentalize and it's just. But yeah, the Authors Pain looks like they're probably going to be on SmackDown when they return because they're both fighting fit. Apparently they're ready to go.
Yeah, Akam is recovered. He's good to go. He's on the SmackDown Live events alongside Razor. I'm happy about this because actually, 3 months ago, we would have all said, oh man, the Raw Tag Division is awful. SmackDown's great. We've got the Usos, got the New Day, we've got Sanity. They were never on TV, what am I talking about? But they had a tag team scene, and it was thriving. And then Superstar Shakeup happened and everything's been ruined. And Daniel Bryan himself has alluded to this in promos, saying that it is a complete mess and they're going to make it great again. They've got a match coming up with Heavy Machinery, maybe on pay-per-view, but that's the setup that's happening. And I actually think AOP, or some more tag teams anyway, are really required on SmackDown now because it's just been, they've had everything pulled from them.
Oh dear. Well, yes, I'm also excited to see them back, but we don't yet know, and PW Insider did stress that there's no word on whether or not they will still be with 205 Live GM. Is he still sometimes Raw, sometimes SmackDown? With Drake Maverick, who also is in WWE. And finally, now, this is, we put this last because we're a little bit skeptical about it, I think it's fair to say, but imagine if it was true. Imagine.
No.
I'm skeptical about both parts of this story. I'll go through them both chronologically. First of all, I think this was a few days ago now, Paul Heyman said, and this has been reported by WWE on Twitter, that Brock Lesnar will be cashing in his Money in the Bank contract this Monday on Raw, which I do not believe for a second. I think it's going to be to get heat on Brock.
Yeah, I do. I think this is coming at the wrong time as well, especially like we're so soon after AEW Double or Nothing. You're
delivering what the fans
switch,
want.
Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's going to come in and he's not going to cash in, nor should he cash in fairness. Stephanie had a video put out where she said, well, his behaviour was disgraceful. I don't know, I'm doing a Vince voice there. His behaviour was disgraceful and it's going to make him turn up on Raw. It's like, no, that's the point of the Money in the Bank contract. He's got a year. He's got 365 days to do that. That's the whole point of the thing. Don't make him cash it in on Friday in Saudi Arabia, which is perhaps what's going to happen because nobody wants to see Seth Rollins on its own. I think it's going to be.
He's got a match.
He's got Baron Corbin that because he won the 4-way on Monday. But yeah, I think they're going to add Brock to that because Brock's going to want to be on the Saudi show because cha-ching.
Absolutely.
What's the second part, Jack?
The second part is more interesting in my opinion, but equally unlikely. Matt Riddle has taken to Twitter following his victory over Roderick Strong in the opening match of NXT TakeOver 25. Excellent match. Excellent performance from both guys. And clearly Riddle is just like one of their potential huge stars if they handle him right. Mm-hmm. And NXT will probably handle him right. And I reckon he'll be NXT champions before the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
But you can never tell these days. And Meltzer was saying recently, actually, that he's been made to look a fool because he's said that certain guys, they can't mess him up on the main roster or her. He said that Ricochet was his one. He was like, well, they can't mess him up. And already you can kind of sense that Ricochet is just another guy now.
Yep.
But Matt Riddle is, if it all went as it should, then he should be a main roster, main event level superstar.
Oh, future WWE champ. He's got it all. He's got absolutely everything.
He does. So he's taken to Twitter and quote retweeted WWE's announcement that Brock Lesnar is going to be cashing in and said, I'll be there to ruin it, bro. See you on Monday at Raw. Now, I really don't think that Matt Riddle's going to show up on Raw.
No, lots of other places have gone with NXT star announced for Raw on Monday. I think he's just trolling.
I think he's just
trolling.
I think he's just.
But then again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong here.
I was about to say, do you think that this annoyed Vince? But I don't think Vince has even seen it. I reckon
he doesn't know how to use Twitter. He's got somebody who does his tweets for him. He's. I don't know if he knows the internet's a thing.
Vince knows the internet's a thing. No, wait, I was about to use the worst example to prove that Vince knew the internet was a thing, which wasn't even internet-based. It was his $1 million phone-in, which was a phone competition. And
It was what was that? 2008,
maybe
2008,
I don't know.
2007, maybe a long time ago. A call-in show where people rickrolled him instead of winning like 35 grand.
And then the set fell on him.
Yeah, of
The
course
set
it did.
fell on him, and Triple H tried to save him, and he was going, Paul.
Paul!
That's one of OSW Review's best running jokes, because they don't even do Vince's voice properly anymore. They just go like, Pa, care for my leg. Oh, that was the news anyway. Thanks very much for watching, and rest assured that we'll be keeping you up to date with all the news throughout the week and forever. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.